This rookie they got, he's not lighting up the joint.
Nah, but it's just so hard to assess young quarterbacks in certain, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you ain't got no O line, man. I mean,
that's fair.
No, what I'm saying is you really if you're really, really stinking up the joint, then you're like, okay. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. I think the Patriots have a decent O-line. Mac Jones is stinking up the joint. You know, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can actually watch games and he'll show flashes, but you can watch games, and that could be coaching or anything. But the bottom line is, like I said, he's still pulling the trigger on the ball. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we said it was the play calling. They go out and get 400 yards one week, and then they come back and they stink up the joint again. And it's the same people. I mean, they got Mitch in there now. Oh, hey, Deon.
I was gonna say, actually, it's Mitchell Trubisky now.
That was right on.
Chill out.
Mitch Drake Howell. Mitch Drake Howell.
Now he's the all-star.
Drake. It's Sam Trubisky. Again, shout out to Sam Howell for surviving this season. Shout out.
Trubisky.
Shout out.
Because what we do know is that the O-line in DC is terrible.
And he still
we are sure of that. Their O-line is terrible.
Yeah, they have problems in Washington. So let's go ahead and address the elephants in the room. That being a couple of them.
Oh, okay.
A couple of elephants.
There's a couple of, are they elephants? Are they standing right here?
Well, basically, he's addressing the fact that, overall, from a football standpoint, you probably didn't have the greatest weekend. That's what he's trying to get to.
It's Sunday sucked all around, because Sunday before the games ever started, Florida State got shafted by the college football people.
Well, I think we should put our big boy and girl pants on when it comes to that.
What is that?
No, they got
shafted. Don't you forget that you're an ACC guy. I just want to remind you of that.
Right. I know. They got shafted. They went. Let me be clear. let me be clear. I'm gonna start with this. For all these people trying to tell me nobody wants to watch a bad football game or a playoff game where there's not a whole lot of points scored. If you actually like football, you don't give a damn about that. So let me be clear.
Hold on. I want you to be clear about who you're addressing, because there's a lot of people to address. So you're addressing fans on that one.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you're actually a fan of the game and sportsmanship and all of that, you don't really give a damn about whether or not somebody gonna put up 70 points. In fact, I hate those games. I hate them. I think they're bullshit, and you're gonna need to do a lot of editing, Pete. Okay, because I'm gonna do a lot of cussing.
Clearly,
I think they're bullshit. I hate those games where I be like, okay, so ain't nobody pack defense. We gonna put everybody putting up whoever got the ball last. I absolutely hate them, and I definitely hate them in college football. Like, it's just dumb. So I don't want to hear that.
Understood.
Those boys went undefeated. They beat who was in front of them. They went undefeated. They earned their spot in the playoffs. I don't understand, and you can't make it make sense other than the fact that it's Alabama and SEC biased that you put in a team that has a loss just because the other team lost their quarterback. They lost their quarterback, but they kept winning. So what? They didn't put up 70 points to win those games. They won. They got shafted, and it was some bullshit. And you can't say anything that's going to make me change my mind. You can say whatever you want to. I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to make me change my mind. They were wrong. They was dead ass wrong with that. It doesn't. The system is broken.
Well.
The system is broken.
Go ahead, D, get in there.
It's been broken. It's always been BS, and it's all about the almighty dollar. And here's what I want Florida State to do. I want Florida State to be like, yes, we're going to go to this bowl game. I want the boys to go and have a great time for that week and get whatever per diem and gifts. And then I want them to run out on the field and give the college football, the NCAA, and all of them the finger. And sit on the sidelines and be like, oh, y'all was worried about paying people and worried about having a bad game? Watch this.
Okay.
That's what I want them to do.
Let D get in. Let D get in a little later.
That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's the deal. This isn't for you, Lanice. Okay. This is for whomever watches this. All right. So I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking to the camera, and I'm just talking. And when it comes to the NCAA, sure, is there some bias? They sprinkled a little salt. We know that they love Alabama. We know that. Okay, but here's the clear cut. Here's the deal. All right. The NCAA, college football, has been a business, and it still is, and it always will be. Here's what the problem is. It is not the fact that the NCAA did not choose Florida State, which to the whole wide world, yes, it looks like they got shafted. You have to go and look at the writing under which they stated. They made the rules as to who can get in. Now, what's the problem with the rules? They are talking out of both sides of their mouths.
Yep.
You can't ask the team to play strength of schedule, go undefeated, win the conference championship. Oh, but if you get injured or you have some injuries, well, we just can't help you. We can
choose that avenue. Like they can maneuver. They can wiggle out of it, and there's really no right or wrong because of the way that they wrote the rules.
Right, and that's the problem. They have to fix that text.
But they're not going to. They're not going to.
And I'm gonna get to that. They're not going to because why? It does affect. It is monetary. It does affect pockets. They don't want, so they put it in writing, right? It's like the NCAA Constitution. You have to have a coach that's there, a present, a coach, and you have to have players that are readily available. An available coach, meaning the whole Harbaugh situation is an example, but Michigan's still there, but here's still. So you have to do that. So that right there, that's telling everyone, you can't get hurt in this violent game in which we play and go on the field. You might not make it in.
Yeah.
It's them, man. It's on them to change that. They wrote the policy on how to get in. And so they can determine who gets in and who doesn't.
I got a couple points. So I appreciate it, and I have a big expectation that you were going to be not happy, Lanice. Honestly, you've heard me over the years, ever since I've thrown my hands up at college football for a couple of reasons. A, the team I root for ain't been good in a while, and number two, I've always felt like they put the teams in that they want anyway. So I wasn't surprised. I wasn't, I'm not outraged because I'm not alumni. I'm not a fan. I saw it coming. The funny thing about it is, Deon, the point that you bring up. And Lanice, I'm not getting on you about this because I know where the emotion is coming from and how you're leaning towards the aspect of Alabama. But to Deon's point, I could make a case for Michigan not to be in. I could make a case for Texas not to be in. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can spin this thing that should favor putting Florida State in. Because just because Texas beat Alabama early in the season don't mean that Texas beat Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
If you put Louisville up against Oklahoma State, you're going to still have the same ugly game, and I can make an argument that Louisville might win that game. Right? I mean, I'm being for real. Like, it wasn't like Oklahoma State was running up, putting on a show that you ever thought at any point in time Texas was going to win that game. At least with Alabama, and I give Alabama whatever credit it is, they played Georgia. Georgia messed it up for everybody. Let's just say it, because Georgia should have
Georgia should have beat them
at the end of the day. But the point is, Georgia came back, made it a game, but they just started coming back too late. It was too late. They ran out of time. They started too late on the comeback. What I'm getting to is, I can make an argument that Florida State should be in over Texas. I can make an argument that 3 games you didn't have Jim Harbaugh, and it wasn't like Michigan ran up the score against freaking Iowa. So to Deon's point, they're just leaving that wiggle room for them to pick whoever they want. You know, Shannon Sharp was like Alabama Invitational, Nick Saban Invitational. You heard Deon today. They ain't saying that stuff just to say it, right? People are saying it because they know that is part of the equation, but it is not. I made a comment on somebody's post and said they weren't going to put Texas out. They weren't going to take Texas out because the money is even bigger in Tejas than down in Alabama. You know, so that's why I've been pretty much done with college football and then to the point it was made today, what everybody tend to forget, they've got 4 spots for five, you know, for the current system of 5 power conferences. And then someone was like, well, TCU, all this other stuff. I said, guys, TCU actually won their semifinal game. Y'all keep forgetting they beat Michigan when they went to the college playoffs. They got beat and then they went against Georgia. And we even said when Georgia was running up the score on TCU, the way Georgia looked that night, they would have ran up the score on anybody. Everybody said the same thing when they was watching that game. It could have been the freaking you had to think about historic teams that would have beat them. Like I'm talking about the Miami 2001. You know, like you had to think about historic teams that was going to beat Georgia that night. So the whole TCU argument is a bunch of BS because Georgia was like a freaking machine. So
and that was my thing though too, Pete. Because somebody was like, well, that nobody wants to revisit TCU. And I was like, but TCU beat Michigan. I was like, TCU was in the championship game, not because they picked them to go there, but because they beat Michigan because Michigan choked. And then because everybody was like, well, Dominique Foxworth was saying. But then they were like, but if they didn't put Florida State in, all the Michigan people was like, y'all not going to beat Michigan. Why not? TCU beat y'all and they weren't supposed to. Because what Michigan does in the playoffs is they choke. That's what Harbaugh does with college.
And that was the whole thing with me was you can't sit here and tell me again. We know why they pick and how they pick and what were the reasons and the way that they can wiggle themselves out. But you can't sit here and tell me that Florida State defense wouldn't give Michigan some problems. You can't sit here and tell me that.
Exactly.
You can't. They may not score a lot of points, Florida State, but that defense, them dudes was real this year. I got to give them some credit. Was serious.
And that's my other thing. They act like the frustrating thing is they act like I get it. Quarterbacks get all the blame and all the glory. They win or lose. I understand all of that. But at the end of the day, football is a team sport. He didn't win not one game before he got hurt by himself. It was a unit. It was a whole unit that played that game. And when he went down, the unit kept playing. He was on the sideline on crutches, cheering them on, and like, those are my boys. They can win without me. Like, and then the other thing, what really tipped me over the edge with all of it, because when he first got hurt, I was like, they're gonna figure out a way to shaft him. And part of me was like, if they just lose, then I won't be mad when they don't put us in. I was like, if they just go ahead and lose one of these last few games, I ain't gonna be mad when they don't put us in. But if we don't lose and they don't put us in, I'm going to be super duper mad. But what tipped me over the edge is when that poor baby went on his social media account and apologized to his teammates and all the Florida State fans and actually said, I'm sorry my leg didn't get broke earlier in the season so that they could see that the team was still good without me.
That's what Dominique Foxworth said. He said, that means you got to go undefeated and make sure you got strong legs.
Right, I was like, Jesus,
dang, bro.
I was like, this poor baby done put all of this on himself and has apologized. Sir, it's not your fault.
Nah.
It is absolutely not your fault. And he has taken that on himself and was like, I wish my leg would have got broken earlier in the season. Well, don't say that, because we would have wished that your leg just didn't get broken.
I wish
not that it was, but he's like, if it had got broken earlier in the season, they could have played more games without me and still seen that we were going to be a good team and could play well without me. I was like, oh, that's what tipped me over the edge.
I can't.
I
wish they would have gotten the balls to just put Florida State in and took Texas out and just live with the argument, oh, Texas beat Alabama. Because the other part of the equation too is, if that's the case, then why put Florida State 4 in the first place? See, that's the thing.
Well,
that's the
and that
part
was
of
the
the
other
thing.
thing.
Why
The
would you
week
put
he
them
got
4
hurt-
in the first place, D? You see what I'm saying? Like, you gonna put them 4 in the
Right.
first place only to say, because normally what happens, because think about the 3 things that happened with this whole thing. First of all, given the circumstances of how things played out, Georgia's the first team that's ever been a 1 that fell out. After getting beat by a team that actually was in the 4. That's the first time that's happened. The first time a Power 5 team that's been undefeated that didn't get in when there were 1-loss teams in front of them. You know what I'm saying? And now, and then you got a situation where, you're talking about people being missing, and you got Michigan over here with a freaking scandal, and their coach was missing for 3 games. You suspended him for 3 games. And we're reporting that. I'm not saying he did it, but we're okay with that.
And so that's the point, though. That's the thing.
So take Texas. Like, you could have ended this by saying, let's just piss off Texas, make the Alabama fans happy, and put Florida State in because they earned it. I would have took Texas out and just dealt with that.
Here's the thing. Like, I was highly upset at first when I saw that, and I don't even like Florida State. You know that. I mean, we're rivals.
You can't.
And that's fair.
So, but I was very upset. I was like, so, I'm sitting here going, well, why do you play? You play to win, and they won out. How can you keep them out? You can't fall into that minutia when you're dealing with the NCAA.
Because they just come up with their own stuff, man.
And no, Pete, it's in the NCAA Constitution. I saw it. I saw it.
They've covered their base. They basically they didn't see why they didn't cover their asses. That's what you're saying.
I saw
and
it.
And they did. But here's the thing, Deon. But here's the other thing. Like Pete said, why even put Florida State in the 4? Because when he got injured, that next week when they ran the numbers, they had already taken Florida State out and put them at 5. And we were on the show when it came out. And what I say, Pete? I was like, I knew they were going to do that. I knew they was going to take us out.
And I felt like that's exactly where they were going to keep them. And
and I was
mad,
like,
but people would have been like, they put them at 5, but they already had made the mistake. Yeah.
And had they done that and left us at 5, people wouldn't be nearly as pissed off as they are right now. But then last week, after we win, they put us back at number 4, and I was surprised. And then I was like, oh, they not about to do us dirty. They gonna actually have us where we're supposed to be. They not gonna do us dirty. Oh no, they did us super dirty, because what they did was they led us up to the mountaintop with false hope, and then was like, look, this is this you can't have.
Hold up.
Well,
hold up, D. And then they put them. Hold up. Then they put them at 5. Have them playing Georgia, who is at 6, and then told them that Georgia's a 2-touchdown over. They're a 2-touchdown underdog. So technically, they're not even 5 in their eyes. They're 6 or 7.
The thing
I was like, that's dirty.
The thing is this.
Boy.
And I think this is I think this is at the very crux of what's eating at people that are like Lanice in their terms of thinking of how this all went down. They were very classless in how they went to administer their rules. They didn't have to say, because, well, we felt like you don't have your starting quarterback, so that's not going to be a great game. They didn't have to do that. They just could have left it alone. They didn't have to say anything, but they pointed to the fact that you don't have available players, meaning your starting quarterback. So now what does that translate into for people like me and others? Oh, he's not gonna bring a lot of butts to the stadium in those seats.
That team
that's very classless and tasteless. That's tacky. Okay? That's what's pissing everybody off. You don't have to, come on, man. Really? But they put it in that writing. It's in writing.
And like you say, the realness is to the point. If you would have left them at 5, people wouldn't have liked it. But people would have already started getting themselves ready to go, I see what's coming. I see what they're doing. Okay. Especially if things had played out exactly the same way. Because if you think about it, you got to admit, Alabama beating Georgia was a pretty impressive win. You know what I'm saying? And so you look at that situation with a different set of eyes, because you're thinking to yourself, yeah, man, I know we winning, but we struggling to win these games, but we still undefeated. You still gonna get people to make a statement and say, hey, man, we undefeated. but I get it. But to move them up and down and then literally just throw it in there, it's like they just threw it in their face. Like
they were like, well, we don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna let y'all have some hope. And because the last thing I would say is this, and this goes back to Alabama, and it goes back to the context of football in general. And we can even get into the Eagles discussion because we have been talking about this, about close games, about one play here, one play there. If Auburn just calls a different defense, we ain't even having this conversation, at least about Alabama. They would have lost that damn game.
Right.
One freaking play. So one play, just like they said last year, 2 plays last year, and they undefeated, which was kind of true. 2 plays last year, they might be undefeated. So one play this year. So it was almost like, felt like there was almost like, well, since they did pull that off and they beat Georgia, let's go ahead and give them a mulligan. And then Texas beat them, let's give them a mulligan. And we can justify by the rules that we put in place why we're going to keep Florida State out.
Yeah. And to what you were saying,
I hope Washington win the whole damn thing.
I was already on there. Yeah, I was already with them.
I hope Washington win the whole damn thing.
But to what you were saying, they didn't know. They didn't know. They kept moving them up and down, right? Mm-hmm. But the Louisville game solidified it for it. It really did. It was like, nah, this is not the same firepower, star power.
But Deon, they had their 3rd string in. Who's to say in 3 weeks the 2nd string doesn't get back and actually has taken reps during the season that might actually play a little bit better again against the Michigan team that I'm not impressed. Y'all keep saying that people say, oh, they're the best team. Well, I ain't seen nothing.
Well, Pete,
we got like the Big Ten is that good. Like,
Pete, that's a chance. That's a chance.
3 teams.
Guys
Big Ten had 3 teams. To take. 3.
That's a chance that their pockets can't take.
You're right.
You're right.
But here's
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous about my dollars. Right.
Yes.
But here's the thing, Deon. Let's keep it a bill. Those contracts, they are already signed for the next 10 years. Mm. So don't give me their pockets couldn't take it, because whether the game was great or turned out to be another TCU situation in Georgia,
you know what?
They already got their money.
Hey, Lenise, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out with one
statement. They don't have to worry about the next contract.
Hold
on, Pete. They don't have to worry about the next contract for another 8 years. Now, in 8 years.
It's not about that.
In 8 years, when you start running down trying to get sponsorships and stuff like that and get the TV deals, you're gonna have to shaft some people in, because you got to make sure the contract money come back through.
It's deeper than that.
You're making the wrong argument. Let me tell you, you're making the wrong argument, because you could have. No, you could have just stopped. You could. This is the point I'll make. This is the point that I can't believe I forgot about this point. How the hell are you comparing TCU to Florida State? This is freaking damn Florida State we're talking about. No freaking mid-major. This ain't even a low-tier AC. This is a team that has tradition of winning championships. Championships. Putting out pros. So forget the deal of the TV. I get that. You're right. We ain't even got to go that far. I want you to justify the fact that you didn't think the alumni of Florida State, which right now has a coach out in Colorado that could easily bring you some folks out there, because as much as he may not like the fact that they didn't get hired, he didn't get hired by them, I guarantee you he would have took a chance to get out there and market a little bit to say, y'all come support this team ranked 4 against Michigan this week in a couple of weeks, because they're going to surprise y'all, because that's the legacy of how we roll at Florida State. We're going to play hard, and we're going to try to go out here and win this game. That's the thing that I'm tripping off of, is that we're treating Florida State like they are TCU, like they are Central Florida. That's what I'm like, damn, they really worried about their dollars, because Florida State brings dollars too, bro. Like, you know,
but what do people want to see? They want to see touchdowns. They didn't trust
touchdowns. I guarantee they're not going to see touchdowns. But Alabama and Michigan ain't going to give you as many touchdowns as everybody think they're going to give you.
Right.
Hey,
what was the score against Georgia? What was the score against Georgia?
They had, look,
27 to 24.
That's why I started my argument, Deon, with. They don't. This isn't for the people that actually are fans of football. Not just I watch bowl games. They don't give a damn if there's 100 points scored in a game.
The game that we just watched was 27-24.
I'm a fan. I don't care. But
what I'm saying is, how many touchdowns they think they're gonna get? Alabama
okay, so
27-24. It's about the school. I'm telling
you.
But
here's what I mean. They the electricity that was there was not there anymore in that Louisville game, and they saw that, and they just didn't want to see. And even though they did compare it to TCU,
Michigan put up a whopping 26 points against Iowa. Whopping 26 points. Woo.
A whole 26.
Hey, it's not. Listen, I'm not advocating for it.
No. I know what you're saying, D. I'm just saying that to me, the whole with everybody throwing out these 40-point this, 40-point that, we ain't had no 40 to 40. We ain't had no 42 to 41 point championship game in a long time. It's either a
USC
when the team scores 40, it's usually a blowout.
Yeah. I think
in
it was
a long
USC.
Time. I mean, I don't know, man.
But I mean, I like I said, I was outraged too. But then I actually saw the fine print, and they.
saw the fine print.
I saw the fine print. They have to change.
Deon, I get it. I've seen the fine print too. Still mad. Okay, like I get it. Because it again, and I'm aggravated because I'm an alumni and a fan of Florida State. But also, I just don't like dumb stuff and stuff that is in your face shady, in your face shiesty.
Right.
So I'm indignant about all of that. And yes, I know it's in the fine print. I know it's there as a scapegoat so they can get out of things and try to make it make sense. But when you're talking to intelligent, college-educated folks, you can't make that make sense. You just can't. And so all the smoke that they are currently getting, I want them to burn the whole damn house down. Burn it down.
You're dealing with pardon the expression, some gangsters. And here's the reason why. Mac Brown fought all season, almost half the season, to get one of his players that legally should not have been sitting out. They do what they want to, man. It's theirs. And that's a shame.
The last time we had a game where both teams scored 40 was when Clemson played Alabama 7 years ago, 45-40. Any other time it's been a close game in the 20s, and when somebody has scored 40 or more, it's usually been a blowout. So when we're talking about competitive games, the highest scoring competitive game we've seen in it's been like 7-8 years ago when Alabama beat Clemson 45-40. So again, I know what you're saying. I don't disagree. I'm just saying nobody can make an argument to make me feel like they literally just put the teams in that had the dollars and was going to bring the revenue or what they wanted. Because again, they make money in Tejas, and of course Alabama's Alabama. So that's how I mean.
And I hope they both lose in the semifinals.
Oh yeah, I'm full. Go Dog Huskies. I'm completely. If I got a root, I'm going all the way. And I hope he wins the Heisman too.
And you know the thing is, people covering this thing. Some people, like I'll mention his name, Feinbaum. I really don't care for him too much. And I saw where he said
wishy-washy. He's very wishy-washy. And he's very biased.
He's so SEC is unreal.
Yeah, he's real biased to the Big Ten and ACC. He doesn't think they even probably be worthy to be a conference, man. He's all
and I thought that was real low for him to say. And all of this fake crying output for Florida State. Shut up. Really? No, he said it like angry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, really? That's really.
Yeah.
on the national syndicated program, ESPN. That's how you tell people to leave it alone.
That is.
Come on, man.
But I think that's the point is that we as humans, I can understand and clearly fine with editing out whatever because I know Lanice is not happy. And I know a lot of Florida State alumni are not happy. People like EJ Manuel was very, very professional. He got on there.
My apologies. Yeah, EJ Manuel was way more. He was.
But you can tell he wanted to flip out, but he was very, very, very clear and very clean about what he was saying, and he made sure everybody understood that he knows there's a bias. And people look at what Deon said in primetime, and it's like, you know, because there's always this thing there where people kind of think Deon and Nick kind of like this at times because of NIL. But at the end of the day, they're I don't want to say friends. I don't know them personally, but I know that they're cordial, and I know that they do a lot of business together. They got the commercials, all that stuff. But the bottom line is, everybody said what everybody always thinks, what I've always said, what I've always believed. And bottom line is, when Alabama won that game, the only question I had is were they going to let Texas in? And when I saw that Texas made it, I was like, I know Alabama's in. And that's when I knew things was how the shadiness of how it goes down. So anyway, I mean, yeah, whatever. But anyway,
well, I got a question for both of you. Where does this leave? Like, where does this leave people now in that arena that's there now? This coaching Power 5, this coaching D1. Where does the results to what happened for Florida State? How does that affect the mentality going forward? Because as a head coach, you're always preaching win, win, win. Every game we can win. We're gonna find a way to win. But if I'm coaching and preaching, guys, we just gotta win out, baby. We just gotta win out, and we win out.
And now
that's not enough. Right.
Here's what I would say to that. Because we, the three of us, we can't pretend that we haven't lived 40, almost 50 years. And we can't pretend that we've been in an era where people were voting for only two teams. And we were having these same conversations for years. We just didn't know enough about the system. And as we learned about what the NCAA was really about, and as we got older, you played in the league, you know, we started to realize, man, a lot of that was bullshit. Like, you know, a lot of that was a bunch of crap that we grew up with. Like, we don't really know who the best. We don't really know who the best teams are because, okay, we saw Notre Dame play this team. We saw USC play this team. But what if they would have played that team? And what if we would have? And remember, people were claiming national championships when they weren't in the dang final game, right? You had people. Oh, here's an AP poll and a coaches poll. Well, they don't match because the coaches think this is the best team. So we've had these conversations. It's just different. It's just a different conversation, and they have highlighted to create this 4-team CFP, whatever, where you put these people on the panel. So we know exactly who to be mad at now, right? We know exactly who to point the fingers at, right? It's these people that be elected every couple of years, whatever. And so what I'm saying is, as a coach in college football, you already know, based on where you're coaching, based on the league, the conference you're in, based on the location you're in, based on if you got a TV deal or not, you already kind of know where you're probably going to fit and fall, especially in a 4-team. Now, here's the funny part: they're going to 12 next year, and the funny thing was, and they still gonna get it wrong. Well, here's the thing: they brought it up because it was all the 13th team. It ain't gonna be about the 13th, 14th team. What it's gonna be about is the fact that you're going to 2 super conferences, and you know for a fact that it ain't gonna be about the games and they win. It's still gonna be about the names on the front. You know that. You will put a 2-loss Texas team in over a 1-loss Florida State team. I mean, let's be real. We're gonna start seeing that with this 12 team. If you put the 12 teams out there this year, no one would say, oh, it's a big deal. Oh, whatever. And somebody made a comment and said, you're going to have an SEC. You're going to have about 5 of those. I think it was the lady, Heather Dinkich, or whatever. She was like, oh, you're going to have 5 SEC teams and about 4 Big Ten teams, and then they'll just sprinkle a couple of them in there. She said, but you're going to have a SEC Big Ten bias because those are going to be the super conferences, and there's going to be the moneymakers. So I don't know. I don't know what you tell your kids now. I don't know unless you're coaching. Yeah. You're fortunate to coach in the Big Ten or the SEC. In the 2 super conferences. Right. I don't know what you tell those. I don't know what you tell those kids. Go out here and win. We're gonna win all our games. You know, it's arrogant for you to tell them, hey, let's go win and let's win by 30 every game. That's not always possible. You know, what I'm saying? The other team plays football too. You know, that's and they pretty decent. You know,
That's a great point. I didn't realize that if they go to 12, it just widens the road for the SEC.
That's
Because
exactly
Well,
what
and
that's
that's the thing, though. And when
because
they
you're
said
bringing
they
the power
were moving
forward
it-
down to only what 4 or 5 from 5 to 4, right? You
Right.
can read the Pac-12, and then you're gonna add 12 teams. It's gonna be SEC Big Ten bias, man.
And that's the thing, though. When they said they were changing the format and going to 12 teams and yada yada, and I was like, that's just so they can put more SEC teams in there. And somebody else was like, no, that's not why they're doing it. And I said, yeah, it is. I said, because you had that one playoff season where the Alabama didn't get in. And they was like, wait, I was like, it's the same thing the NFL did to try to make sure Dallas always makes the playoffs now. When they changed the format and added more teams that can get into the playoffs, it's because Dallas was always that one bit away. And they was like, we got to figure out how to get Dallas in there. I call it the Jerry Jones rule. And that's what they did in the NFL, and now they've done it in college football for Nick Saban. So they've expanded it to 12, so that way we can always make sure Alabama is in the playoff, whether they deserve to be there or not.
Well, I don't think it's certainly. I don't think it's just because of Nick Saban. I think certainly.
But I think it's because not just Nick Saban, but the entire SEC. It's
right.
SEC bias.
They view the SEC as the
they
best.
Did 12 teams this year. It would be Ole Miss, Missouri, Georgia, Alabama would be in as 4 of the teams. Then you got Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. And then you got Oklahoma and Texas. And then you would have Florida State and Oregon and Washington. So, and now remember, the Pac-12 goes away. So yeah, if you looked at it and you did if you now went to like next year, as the conference would have been next year, it would have been, you're adding teams. It's going to be that, man. You're not going to get. So, I mean, look, Liberty is 13-0. Are they really going to put Liberty as one of the 12?
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Not. So unless
they already
to give the little guy a shot like they do in the D1AA or D2, then what's the point? You just want all the big name schools,
but they
a chance to get in.
But here's the thing, man. I've always said that since hearing the bias about and watching people they just love to tout the SEC. Man, you can take 5 of them schools out and they're bums. I'm telling you. They don't even need some of them other schools.
SEC, they're not as people think they're talking about they're good. Some of them SEC teams are garbage. Some of them
garbage and have been garbage.
Yeah.
Right.
Louisville would beat Vanderbilt. Louisville would beat, Florida State in its current state would beat Vanderbilt. Like, some of them teams are garbage. Come on.
I kind of wish Vanderbilt would run the table so they'll see what they'll do about that.
Look, Deon, now we see what they got now is they got people like us wishing for complete pandemonium to happen.
You damn right. Right.
Like,
we want this school to win. We want this to happen. Like, I want Florida State not to play, but show up so they can get all the accolades and then just sit on the field.
This is what you want to happen next year. This is what I
want Washington to win out this year. Like, I want complete bedlam.
This is what you want to happen next year. I'm going to tell you what you want to happen next year. You want every mid-conference, mid-major, or like whatever lower tier one non-power conference. You want at least one. I would even create a conspiracy if I could. If somebody had enough money, Deon, to just create a conspiracy, to just go to each one of these conferences and say, look, next year, just everybody lose to one team so that one team in your conference can go undefeated so that we can have 6 or 7 undefeated teams like Central Florida, Liberty, all of them be undefeated.
Right.
And then let's see if they put 5 or 6 of those into 12 or keep them out. Then we'll know exactly what they've been trying to do the entire time, which is put all these damn power colleges in from all these other the super conferences, and they truly don't give a damn about the little guy. I just wish that next year we have like 5 or 6 undefeated teams in all the other conferences. So that they can look up like Colorado, South Dakota State or whatever the damn college up there. Let them go undefeated and just You be 13-0. Central Florida 13-0. Liberty 13-0. They go, all right, let's vote. Damn, we got to put at least 2 of these damn colleges in. We can't keep all 6 of them out.
Right.
That's the pendulum I want to see. 1 year, I want that to happen.
It'll happen. It probably won't be next year, but
it won't be next year. But if I look, I'll call up the coaches. But look, we'll give y'all extra couple thousand. Y'all throw this game, okay? Yeah, because we need to defeat it. All right.
Right.
Like if a team gets to like, hey Deon, if a team gets to like 11-0 and they got 2 more games left, be like, look, yo, we'll give you a couple extra thousand. But throw these games so we can be 13-0, so we can see if we can shake this thing up. All right.
Right.
Right. Because we trying to burn the whole house down.
Right. Yeah, man. It's tough.
That's why it's funny because that now I see what you were saying. That's why they broke up the conferences. So yeah.
Which, by the way, did you see the poor Pac-12? Did you see the video? And then we can move on.
I heard about it. I haven't watched it yet.
Of all the mascots from the Pac-12 waving
I heard
around
about
the
it.
field.
I heard about it.
Man, listen. I was like, y'all trying to make the people emotional because they were also playing because it was to the song "When I See You Again" that they did for Paul Walker Fast 7 after he died. The end of the song.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes, they were all on the field together down in the end zone, and they were waving goodbye, and they were playing that song. I was like, y'all really trying to make the people cry.
Crazy. I'm gonna have to go watch that.
That's insane.
They were just all out there waving, and then they hugged up together and rocking back and forth. I was like, oh, they doing the most.
I can't blame them though.
Y'all trying to break the poor people down.
I mean, it's funny because the Pac-12 was pretty damn good this year too. And it's like,
right, but it was cute though. But they had them all on the field, and they were all waving goodbye. And then they were playing the song. I said, "Oh, y'all not gonna play the sad song with it too?"
It's bad, man. Pac-12, that's tough. There's a lot of history there. I mean, that's just unreal.
Hey, shoot. I mean, you can start and stop with USC and UCLA, but then like Washington is
right there. But
I'm about to say, but Washington has won a title in our lifetime. Like Oregon changed the game as far as the look and just the flair and the. You know what I'm saying? Like Oregon brought us some like man, I just want to see Oregon play. I just want to see what they're gonna wear. You know, like right. There's a lot of different stuff that the Pac-12 has brought us over the years, man. You daggone right.
I mean, so where are they going?
Arizona win the title? Didn't Arizona win the title one year?
They had close. They were the Trump candidate.
I don't know if they won a title, but they got. I don't. Did they get close?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking about, just like all of the stuff that we're not going to see anymore. As far, I mean, it is what it is. Just like the Big 12, are they going to have 12 teams? Like, I forgot.
Well, where is everybody from the Pac-12 going? That's what I don't.
I think a couple of going to Big 12, and then I could. You know what? I stopped paying attention to it. I really did.
And we didn't even think about the independent schools. Well, the one Notre Dame.
Who? Notre Dame.
The three. No, I mean, so if they would have to win out also.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and they've made that very clear over the years that they are not giving Notre Dame any more benefit of the doubt. Because when they put them in that 1 year, a few years ago, they got blown out in the semifinal. And it was like, all right, you're going to have to really, truly win. You're going to every time now. You got to go undefeated. You got to undefeated.
That's insane.
Yeah, I got you with the Pac-12. So USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington are going to the Big 10. Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah are going to the Big 12.
Okay.
And Cal and Stanford are going to be going to the ACC.
That's right.
Man, we got Cal and Stanford.
Y'all gonna have to travel across the entire nation. 5 hour flights, 6 hour flights.
Well, we did play Stanford when I was there, but I like Cal. Cal's not bad. They could have given us one of those.
Yeah, so Cal and Stanford are coming to the ACC. I was like, this is about to be a hell travel situation.
They could have given us another. Man.
You want Oregon? You want Oregon? Somebody like Oregon.
That way we can shoot up real quick if we get one
Right.
win by 3 points.
Right. You want to go to Oregon? I want a team where I could go and, we can like justify like, man, we going to Oregon's campus for the game. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And if we win, if UNC
going on
beat
USC's
Oregon,
campus, but you knew that USC and UCLA was gonna go to the SEC. You knew that. They won't go mess around. They ain't look. If you're gonna take school, they're gonna take the schools. Because in the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC.
Texas, yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So they replace. Yeah. So they're getting replaced by Utah and whatever. It doesn't.
Yeah, Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah are going to the Big 12.
I see it
USC,
now too.
UCLA, Oregon, and Washington are going to the Big 10.
Deion gonna mess with the damn conference, not this year, but next year. Probably he might win that damn conference in the next couple of years.
And I see what you.
Who in the Big 12? Who in the Big 12 gonna really? I mean, Texas, yeah, but Texas is going to SEC. So now who's left in the Big 12? That's actually Oklahoma. No, Oklahoma's going to SEC.
Oklahoma's going to SEC.
Nebraska. Nebraska.
Deion gonna wind up running the damn Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, you got Nebraska, but they're not all of that. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, but that just goes to show what you just said. Oklahoma and Texas, man, that's more SEC schools in the playoffs.
Right.
They need to boot Vanderbilt. Man, where does list at?
Send Vanderbilt to Conference USA.
Send them to independent. they go to class, man. They don't play football.
Right, they actually go to class.
They go to class. I can't. I'll see y'all next week.
Wrong. Yeah, okay. Later.